I like Simon Rosenberg. He's a friend. I've known him for a very long time, and I've always thought he was very smart about politics. Simon proved that in 2022 when he was a lone voice in the political wilderness, insisting that, contrary to all of the talk of a red wave sweeping the country, the midterm elections were in fact going to be good for Democrats. And he was proven correct. So I'm a regular reader of Simon's Substack, it's called the Hopium Chronicles, and a follower of his on social media too. Which brings me to a particular hobby horse of his, that the media is ignoring good polling for President Joe Biden. To that point, this tweet from the weekend caught my eye. Check it out. In a Substack post linked to in the tweet, Simon argued this, and let me quote him. "It can no longer be said that Trump leads or is favored next year. That may have been true a month ago. It is no longer true. Joe Biden has a slight lead now in national polling, period." Which got me to thinking, is Simon right? Is the governing dynamic of the 2024 race now that Joe Biden is a slight favorite? And if it is, why am I not seeing more reporting and coverage of that fact? Okay, so the main polling aggregator out there, which compiles all or at least most of the national polling done in the hypothetical Biden-Trump race, is from Real Clear Politics. Here's what the last 11 national surveys, as collected by RCP, look like. Check it out. Now, the RCP average is poo-pooed by lots of polling professionals because it includes basically every poll conducted, regardless of questions about methodology, sample construction, and polling standards. And it is true that not all polls are created equal, some are better than others, and the RCP average does not really acknowledge that fact. But just for a minute, let's ignore the average, which shows Trump leading by almost 2 points. Instead, let's look at the individual poll results. And if you do that, what you find is this. In 8 of the 11 most recent national polls, Trump is ahead with margins ranging from 2 to 6 points. That is a fact. It is also a fact that of the last 3 polls in the RCP average, 2 show Biden ahead, albeit by 1 and 2 points. So which reality do you believe? In Simon's reality, something, and he admits he doesn't know exactly what it is, has changed in recent days in the national political environment. And that change is working in Joe Biden's favor. In an alternate reality, Trump is, in the main, still ahead, albeit narrowly, with the 2 recent results showing Biden in the lead, more noise than actual signal. So again, I ask, which is it? The truth here is that A, Simon is a partisan Democrat who B, has built his brand, especially over the last few years, on preaching hope and optimism, hopium, to always nervous Democrats. His take on recent polling is very much in keeping with that brand. But that doesn't mean he's wrong either. Here's what I would say. Having worked in 2 big mainstream media newsrooms, there is no question that they tend to follow a handful of dominant political narratives at any one point, and that it is very hard to knock them off those narratives, barring overwhelming facts. The dominant narrative in the 2024 race right now is A, Trump is going to walk to the Republican nomination, and B, polling over the last 4 to 6 weeks has shown positive movement for Trump in a matchup against the incumbent. The chatter on cable TV is mostly focused on Trump winning. The stories major digital and print news outlets are producing are focused mainly on what a Trump second term would look like. The coverage of Biden, and again, I am generalizing a bit here, is focused on his bad polling numbers, his advanced age, and why his economic message isn't breaking through with voters, which drives the White House absolutely crazy. And is a major reason why they tout Simon and other Democrats like him, who are insisting that A, Biden's poll numbers are better than the media covers, B, his age isn't really a big issue compared to Trump's lawlessness, and C, Biden's economic message will start breaking through as the election gets closer. So who's right? Honestly, I wish I knew. It would make writing and talking about politics a whole hell of a lot easier. I don't. So what? My general sense is that Trump has moved up in the last 2 months vis-a-vis a head-to-head matchup against Biden. It's not a huge move, but it's a move nonetheless, which makes me think that if the election were held today, Trump would be the slightest of favorites to win it. Now, of course, the election isn't held today. We have almost a year to go until next November. And polls, no matter how good they are, only measure this moment in time. On that point, I'll give Simon the last word. Polls cannot tell you what is going to happen tomorrow or next year, he wrote. They can only tell you where things are now, and where things are now can and will change. Amen.